A farce that flaunts God. That's Franklin Graham's response to the State Department's historic move after issuing its first non-binary passport. The pass holder doesn't identify as male or female, instead marked X for gender.
I'm an intersex person, and I had rights as such.
Dana Zim, now the first person to receive a non-binary passport. Zim, a Colorado intersex activist, battled the State Department since 2015 for the designation, a move seen as an affront to those with a biblical worldview on sexuality.
They're putting the stamp of human rights on people's thoughts on what is moral when this is actually immoral.
At the same time, Republican-led states like Texas are pushing back. Governor Greg Abbott this week signed a bill requiring public school athletes to compete based on their biological sex. 5 other states have similar laws. Well, with me now, Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council. Tony, good to have you back tonight. Abigail Schreier, there we go, an author with whom I'm sure you're familiar. She writes about gender issues, and she described the new State Department policy as gender ideology infiltrating the highest levels of government. Tony, do you see it that way? And with policies like this, what might we expect next?
There is a conflation of issues here which is designed to be this way by the State Department. There are truly, I would say, issues of intersex individuals, but we have to realize that that's less than a 10%, less than a tenth of 1% of the population of those that are born that way. So very small. That's what's leading on this, but the State Department is saying, well, we're going to open this up to gender fluid, non-conforming, non-binary individuals. So this truly is a bigger part of their gender ideology push. But I think the timing of this is more of a classic wag the dog. I mean, look at what's happening in our nation right now. Rising inflation. Some are worried about how if we could be headed toward hyperinflation. We just heard about, we're at one of these Sputnik moments. We have this historic surge at our southern border of illegal immigrants coming into the country, rising prices. The consumers are being hit by all of this. And so what do? This administration wants to deflect away from the real policies and do stuff like this. And of course, last week celebrating the first transgender admiral. This is the kind of stuff this administration is committed to advancing. Things that, a little bit of a favor here for their base, but for the rest of America, it is devastating.
Tony, I appreciate you parsing into a little bit of the nuance there with the intersex individual that we were just reporting on. I do want to ask you, though, what about security considerations? Is it problematic that identity cards may no longer correspond to a person's outward appearance?
Well, John, that's a good question. Why do we have identity cards? It's so we can identify people. Why are we concerned about security? Why do you have to present an ID when you go into an airport? Look, I was a police officer for years. And, when we would have a suspect, we would say we have a white male. We would have a black female. So what do we say now? We have a white X. What does that mean? This is a part of sowing confusion and the deconstruction. So I think we have to look at this very objectively. There are legitimate issues, but they attach to a legitimate issue an agenda. And that's what we're seeing coming forth from this administration, sowing these seeds of confusion. And John, by the way, this is in the State Department with passports, but I think every American should be even more concerned on what they're doing in our schools in America, because that's where the battle is really taking place.
Tony, I wish we had more time. I'm sure we could talk about this and many other topics, but unfortunately our time is up. Tony Perkins with the Family Research Council, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, John.